Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. I just got home from Leech Lake, which was the stop of the 4th Bassmaster Open for Division II, the last one of the year, and started putting together videos for both day 1 and day 2. So I got day 1 done. I think it turned out decent, except not any great fish catches. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch yesterday's video. Then I started putting together day 2, which was a really good day of fishing, and I don't know what happened to the video, which is a bummer because I put a lot of effort into just making sure I'm cognitive of making the video during the time I'm on the water. So changing batteries, giving updates, like actually talking to the camera. And I did a lot of that on day 2. And part of that's because it was such a good day. You know, there's a lot more to talk about. And I got home and I don't know what happened to the footage. I've been having issues with the GoPros, so I know I had some form of SD card error. Ultimately, we don't have it. So you've got me now sitting here talking about it, which I know is not going to be nearly as cool as me catching 5-pound largemouth, but I figured I'd still give you the rundown. So if you watch day 1, you know, day 1 and my practice recaps, you know I was putting a big emphasis on catching smallmouth. The smallmouth in Leech Lake are big when you catch one. Generally 3.5 to 5 pounds is kind of what I would say is the average size. The problem is there's not a whole lot of them. But I honestly feel like if you wanted to have a really good tournament, that would be probably the best way to go about doing it. And I chased smallmouth all day on day 1, or not all day, but I guess until 10:30 or 11. At that point, I had one fish for 2 pounds. I think it was 3 ounces, the smallest smallmouth I saw all week. And I switched over to largemouth, and over the next hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, I ended up catching, I think it was 8 legal largemouth. Had 12, whatever I weighed, 12 pounds, 5 ounces, I think, and lost a 4-pounder and a 3-pounder. So I should have had probably more like 15 and a half pounds on day 1. After I caught that 12 pounds, I decided to go back chasing smallmouth, thinking it would be easier for me to cull at that point with a big smallmouth if I could catch one. I never caught one the rest of the day. So when I ended day 1, I went in and I really thought, you know what, I'm going to go have some fun on day 2. I'm going to go largemouth fish all day. And I went to bed. Day 2, I woke up and for whatever reason, I was like, you know what, we're going to start on smallmouth. Maybe I can pop a couple quick and that'll set the tone for the day. Like I felt like that was my best bet at potentially cashing a check. And that just has to do with, I know last year at Leech Lake, you know, the cut weight was really high. I think it was like 17 pounds on day 1, and the weights dropped drastically on day 2, and it took about 31 pounds to get a check. So in my head, everyone was saying it was a little tougher than last year, you know, and the weights were down on day 1 of this year's tournament. So I figured if I could get, you know, 18, 19, 20 pounds, I'd have a shot at least cashing a check, because I was sitting in 150 some place after day 1 with 12 pounds. When I woke up, I was like, we're going for smallmouth. Well, I started running to the spot. It was a windy morning. By the time I got to the spot, we were about 40 minutes in, just based on me being a late boat draw and it taking a lot longer to get there because of how rough the lake was. And I got there and I just thought to myself, this is not, I could fish in it, but I would not be efficient. It would not be good. It's already tough enough to catch a smallmouth. I did a U-turn, went for largemouth. I decided, you know, if I could catch largemouth, if I catch a limit of largemouth in the morning, the weathermen were saying the wind might die down in the afternoon, which then would give me the opportunity to go out and chase smallmouth. So I did a U-turn and went to a spot where I had caught largemouth probably 12, 13, 14 years ago, and quickly started catching them. Man, I think in the first 15 minutes, I think I had 2 keepers, both about 2 pounds, nothing special. The third fish was a 3-pounder. And I mean, I was getting bit like for the first probably 3 or 4 hours, like every 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. And the fish were really aggressive. You know, we had stormy conditions, really overcast, strong wind. You know, it felt like it could start raining. It did rain a few times, but the fish were really aggressive. If you watch day one, I was fishing similar stuff on day one. You know, it was some matted vegetation. I was fishing some bulrushes. I was fishing some rice fields, some cane. There's a few patches of cane that I like to fish. Anyway, so the point is I was fishing a bunch of various things, but the area was holding fish. And the fish were really aggressive. I'd pitch in there and either instantly get bit, or I'd see like the bulrushes shake from like 5 feet away, and I knew it was going to happen, you know, within just a couple of movements of the bait, and the fish was on there. So it was almost like the fish heard the splash and went into hunt mode. You know, the water was clear. It was not hard for them to find the bait, and it just got good. You know, the first limit I had was about 12 pounds. And then I caught a 5-pounder. I think it was 5 or 5.1 on my scale. And then that bumped me up. And it was weird because like at that point, the bites I got were all better. I caught a 5. I caught another one that was right at about 3 pounds. I caught a 3.5. And then I caught a 4. And then I did an update for the camera actually in the boat. It was 10:30. And I was talking about how, you know, we were right at about 19 pounds, and I felt so confident that I was going to get the 20 pounds. Like the area was producing big fish, and the fish were biting, and man, the front kind of blew through. Bluebird skies came out, and the bite changed drastically. I think in the last, well, I don't know if it was 4 hours of fishing. It was probably about 4 hours of fishing. I only had 6 bites. I caught 3. They were all little, or at least didn't help me. And I had 3 others that were all really good quality fish that I lost. I couldn't get them out of the stuff. I didn't have any right next to the boat where I could see exactly how big they were, but I got everyone to the surface. Got a look at them all from, you know, probably 20 feet away, and they all looked like 3 to 4 pound caliber fish, which would have easily put me over 20 pounds. The thing is, the bite completely changed. All 6 of those bites I had after 10:30 were like wet noodles. You know, you'd flip in there and you'd pull up and you'd feel weight, but you didn't know if you had weed or if it was a fish. And sometimes they'd pull back, that would be the fish. Other times it wouldn't pull back, and that was weed. But they just were not eating it like they were in the morning. So something changed, and I stayed with it all day. I just felt like the area I was in would give me a really good shot at producing another couple big bites. And the wind only picked up more, so I never would have even had a shot to go get out on those smallmouth. The waves probably doubled from 2 to 3 foot waves in the morning to 4 foot type waves in the afternoon. I mean, it was howling in there. So I ended up with 18 pounds, 15 ounces, which jumped me from 150 something to, I think, at 42nd or 43rd. It was one of the last pay spots. So we got out of there with a check. It's a nice way to end the year. It's kind of one of those things where you walk away going, man, I want to fish again, because, you know, it was a good tournament day. But we're done fishing the opens for the year at this point. We did not qualify for the EQs, which is very disappointing. I would have bet big bucks I would have made the EQs at the start of the year, but it's just been one of those odd years. And I've had the last couple of years I've been fishing, just it's been weird. I've had really bad first days, and then I've had a lot of really good second days. It kind of started with the BPT, where it was just like, man, I'd not have a great first day. I'd switch it up and then go crush them the second day, you know, like I did with Leech Lake. I mean, I jumped 100 some places. The problem is this year on the opens, didn't even get that second chance in 2 of our 4 tournaments because we had 2 of the 3 days canceled. And I know it's an excuse. The point is, you know, it was one of those weird years. It is what it is. We'll regroup. We'll be in much better place next year. From a bait standpoint, everything I weighed this week was on a Berkley Power Bait 4-inch Pit Boss with a 3/4 ounce or 1/4 ounce weight, depending on what it was that I was fishing. This is Berkley X5 65-pound braid. I've got it on a Xenon X 8.0 to 1 gear ratio reel, so I like the fast reel. And then this is the MHX FP 936 rod that I built specifically for flipping heavier stuff. Just a great setup. I did catch one smallmouth all week, and that came on a tumbleweed, a Strike King tumbleweed, which is a dice style bait. You know, the smallmouth were so finicky this week that I had 20 different baits tied on, and I got a handful of bites on the tumbleweed. Enough to make me want to keep working with it and trying it on a bunch of different situations, just because I did catch some fish on it throughout the week that didn't bite, you know, some of the traditional stuff, but did bite that. So there was something to it. Again, I only caught one smallmouth, so I'm not saying it's the answer. It just was interesting to me when they turned down, you know, a minnow style bait or something like that, and then would eat the tumbleweed. So I'm going to play around with it some more. I'm sure I'll give you updates on that as I do fish with them. But that was it from a bait standpoint. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Yeah. So where are we at now? Well, now we can start getting ready to sell the boat. We can start taking the wraps off, and we can start doing a lot more content for you guys out there, which should be fun too. So hopefully you guys want to come along and watch some of that content. Again, I apologize for not having content for this. I'm as disappointed about it as you guys are. Just really frustrating when I put as much effort as I do during the tournament to make a video. You know, it's as much as I like making the videos, it's the last thing I want to do while I'm fishing is hear like my battery go off where I have to switch batteries and you're in the middle of fishing. It just takes you out of your rhythm. It's not necessarily what I want to do, but it is part of the job at this point. So anyways, thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed and you like the channel, please do that. That would be a great way to support the channel. Otherwise, stay tuned. We'll have new videos coming out tomorrow for you.